I came home to find my wedding dress ruined. It's just a joke, he laughed. But when I found out the truth, my fiancé's family was never the same again. Secrets were exposed, betrayals came to light, and the wedding I had dreamed of was shattered. Then, just when I thought it couldn't get worse. I honestly wish I were joking. I spent today Christmas shopping with my sister, drinking hot chocolate, and eating cookies. If someone had told me what was about to happen, I wouldn't have believed them, so I wouldn't blame anyone for doubting me now. It's disgusting, shocking, and completely unreal. So, today, I went out with my 18-year-old sister for some holiday shopping. My fiancé, James, 26, stayed home since it was his day off. He works in healthcare, alternating between 4 days of 12-hour shifts and 4 days off. His younger brother, Dan, 21, came over to spend the day with him. James and Dan aren't particularly close, they have completely different interests. James is into computers and gaming, while Dan is all about football. But today, they hung out while I was out, which I thought was nice. I got home around 8 p.m. after having dinner with my sister and finishing our shopping. My uncle, Ray, is a tailor and had been making adjustments to my wedding dress. Since James was home, he received the dress for me and even sent a picture of it when it arrived. We were both excited. When I got home, Dan had already left, and James was slightly tipsy, not a big deal, since he hardly ever drinks. He complimented the dress, saying he couldn't wait to see me in it. I decided to try it on to check the fit. But when I unzipped the bag, I noticed a weird stain across the corset-style bodice. It was crusty. And I immediately knew what it was. I've seen semen before. I don't know whose it is, and honestly, I'm not sure if I even want to know. I just feel disgusted and humiliated. I can't even bring myself to touch the dress, let alone talk to anyone about it. I doubt it was James, which somehow makes it worse. He and Dan aren't that close, but Dan was the only other person in the house, unless someone else came in while I was gone. I have no idea how to approach this. Dan is the golden child in their family, he plays for their hometown football team, and everyone adores him. I don't want to start drama with my in-laws before I've even married into the family. But I also can't afford a new dress. I got this one on sale for $215. What the hell do I do? TLDR, someone ejaculated on my wedding dress. I can't afford a replacement, and I have no idea how to handle this. The only possible culprits are my fiancé or his brother. Edit, this definitely didn't happen at my uncle's shop. He only works with his husband and a few female employees. Plus, James sent me a Snapchat photo of the dress after it arrived at our house. Update. The past few days have been an absolute whirlwind. I never expected my post to get this kind of response, and I'm beyond grateful to everyone who shared advice. Right now, I'm drunk, very drunk, and furious, completely, unbelievably fuming. I'm usually a calm person, but that part of me has checked out, hopefully to a beautiful beach in Sydney, a place I've always wanted to visit. Using some of your suggestions, I put together a script to read to James. Well, I tried to memorize it, but in the moment, most of it went out the window. Still, I managed to get my main points across. I really appreciate those who guided me on what to say, it helped me keep my composure. Otherwise, I might have been tempted to take scissors to that dress and send it off for DNA testing just to avoid having this conversation. Here are the key things I covered, both in my talk with James and in my own investigation. I asked James what he thought of the dress. He told me he loved it and couldn't wait to see me walking down the aisle. Nothing seemed off, he was just genuinely excited. I asked about his evening with Dan. I figured that if something had happened and James knew about it, he would tell me. We've always believed in honesty, no matter what. He said the evening was as good as it could have been, his words, not mine. Dan drank a lot, which is typical for him. He has a habit of drinking until he throws up, then drinking more, thankfully, not in our bathroom this time. They caught up, James told him about his new job, and Dan spent about 2 hours talking about the women he's seeing. Unfortunately, this part is important. I analyzed the photo James sent me. As a concept artist, I know my way around Photoshop. I played with the filters and adjustments enough to confirm that the dress was completely clean when it was delivered. The stain wasn't there. And it's definitely a splatter. I told James the first was about to try on the dress but noticed something on it. I didn't say what it was, I just asked if he could take a look and help me figure out how to get it cleaned. Before even seeing it, he was already concerned and asking if Ray or his husband would know someone who could help. 5. I asked James if Dan saw the dress in person. The answer was yes. James told Dan where the dress was, and Dan went alone to look at it while James was on the phone to our local Indian takeout while they were getting dinner. The one silver lining is that he saved me some cheesy naan bread. 6. I showed James the stain, and he quite literally went red. I've never seen him so angry before. Some choice words were said and I'd rather not repeat them. He spilled a lot about what Dan has been like in the past, and that info is also something I probably won't share unless it becomes extremely relevant. Conclusion: Dan absolutely did what I was dreading. He ejaculated on my wedding dress. The splatter pattern matches, the substance looks exactly like it, and, as much as I wish I hadn't, I confirmed it by smell. Worst part? I touched it with my bare hands. I don't even know what to say at this point. I've been writing and rewriting this since yesterday, trying to process everything. Most of you were right, and I really wish you weren't. I wish it had been a massive sneeze, or that Uncle Ray had accidentally spilled mayo while making lunch. But no. And now, I seriously don't think I can wear this dress anymore. It was stunning, it was perfect, and I felt so beautiful in it. I was thrilled about the amazing deal I found. But none of that matters now. Dan ruined it. James and I had a long, exhausting conversation that I don't even have the energy to recount in detail. The short version? We're both furious. And honestly, I don't even know if this wedding is happening anymore. James told me that during their conversation, Dan's attitude toward women was disgusting. Apparently, he's stringing along 4 different women just because he can, because he wants to sleep with as many as possible. He thinks that since he's in peak physical shape, conventionally attractive, and has a solid job, women should be competing for him. He actually believes he's entitled to the attention of attractive women, including me. Just typing that makes me want to throw up. I've known this guy since he was 14. I won't lie, Dan is in great shape. He has abs, works out religiously, and never misses a training day. But that lifestyle? That's not what I find attractive. Give me good food and a cozy gaming session any day. Apparently, Dan has always resented the fact that James ended up with me. He thinks James doesn't deserve me because he doesn't have to work hard for his physique, while I supposedly put in so much effort to look good. Which is hilarious because I don't. I don't wear makeup. I don't dress up. I haven't touched foundation since before the pandemic. The only reason James stays in shape is that riding a motorcycle surprisingly builds a lot of thigh muscle. Dan has apparently been convinced for years that I would leave James the moment I realized I was wasting my time with him. What a joke. James has never cared about my weight or appearance. I was actually underweight when we met, but I've always had a naturally curvy figure thanks to my mom's genetics. My back hates me for it. I know I've rambled a lot. Most of it was probably unnecessary, but it's felt good to get it out there. I also know a lot of you wanted an update. I know what Dan really thinks about me, and I'm still taking it in. I used to get along really well with him. I was never really into football, but I've always followed F1, which I know he kind of likes, and I support a local rugby league team, which I know he really likes. I don't know what to do. I genuinely thought we were just friends. James sees my sister as family, she sees him as a brother, and hearing her say that for the first time actually made me cry. She's always been socially anxious, so it meant a lot. And I thought Dan was like the brother I never had. I wanted a brother. We bonded over sports the few times we talked, and I never realized he saw me differently. I truly believed we had a sibling-like relationship. So what the hell do I do now? I still have a wedding to think about, but honestly, I don't even want the wedding anymore. I definitely don't want to wear that dress. If the wedding happens, Dan will inevitably be involved, and I have no idea how James and I are supposed to explain this to our families. That's a whole separate disaster waiting to happen. And what am I supposed to do about Dan? Part of me wants to gather up my cat's poop and hurl it through his bedroom window, but I know that's not the mature thing to do. Even though Hermes has been producing some absolutely foul-smelling ones lately. Maybe it's a sign, maybe Hermes is the poop messenger. LMAO. TLDR, my future brother-in-law ejaculated on my wedding dress. We haven't told our families yet, but the fallout is inevitable. I just need to figure out how to tell them and how to even deal with FBIL. Edit, I think he knows that I know. He's been standing at my front door for the past 15 minutes, repeatedly ringing the bell. Edit 2, he finally gave up after standing there for half an hour. Pretty sure he was drunk again. I am too, but I definitely have a better excuse. I checked my Ring doorbell footage, he pissed in my flower bed before stumbling away. Update. I'll admit it, I was way too cocky in my last post. I was drunk, furious, and definitely feeling myself a little too much. I've never been in a situation where people were fighting over me before, and my last post on RA maxed out on karma, so I'm posting here instead. Sorry if this update is a bit boring, no fistfights or drama this time. For some background, I used to be dangerously underweight, and it was a huge struggle for me. I've worked hard to gain weight while still staying relatively healthy. Now, I'm a size 16 with a chest so heavy it's destroying my back, I'm literally saving up for a breast reduction. My mom had to get one, too, so I guess you could say I was cursed with this body. Being 5 feet 2 inches with a big butt means every single pair of jeans I buy has to be altered because my legs are tiny. I wasn't trying to brag before, it's not exactly fun or glamorous. I'm short and a little dumpy, but I've worked for this body, and I guess I got a little defensive about it. My bad. Long story short, the wedding is off. James and I are ditching the big traditional event and doing things our way. We're taking our closest family and friends to a local town hall for a small, intimate ceremony, exactly how we originally wanted it. A few weeks later, we'll throw a huge party for everyone who wants to celebrate with us. My sister and Mil are making me a brand new dress for both events, which is honestly so special. It's going to be less traditional, I'll be wearing a cape and a flower crown instead of a veil, and we're not getting married in a church anymore. Oh, and my sister got engaged. Thankfully, my mother's veil wasn't damaged, but I'm giving it to my sister anyway. She loves traditions, so I'm really happy she gets to be the one to walk down the aisle wearing it. For our wedding, I'm walking myself into the hall, and my sister is officiating. Since we live in a small village where everyone knows each other, we got permission to use the venue for half an hour so we can do things our way. It honestly feels so much better like this. My sister is a seamstress, so she's making me a gorgeous cape and helping Mil with my dress. I've seen the concept sketches, and I'm beyond excited. It has everything I loved about my old dress and then some. I have no idea how to even thank them properly. My FIL is going all out and getting us a whole pig to spit roast for the reception. My sister and I are making the wedding cake, and thankfully, we already had the reception venue booked over a year ago, so that's staying the same. The best part? We're getting married sooner. We hadn't paid for much yet, just the reception venue, bridesmaid dresses, and flowers. The venue was the most expensive part, but since it's the same place where James's parents got married, our families actually split the cost for us so we could have it too. That means a lot to both of us, and I'm so incredibly grateful for their support. Anyway, back to the problem at hand. James confronted Dan last night. I wasn't there. I was with my parents. He asked what Dan thought of the dress, and Dan immediately asked, "Is Callie sure she wants to marry you? There are better options." James asked if Dan knew anything about the stain, and Dan couldn't stop laughing. He thought it was hilarious. He thought it was funny that James and I were angry. Apparently it means I'm a low-value female. Supposedly, it was a test to see which I valued more, the dress or the marriage. Obviously I value the marriage more. But because I was upset about the dress, Dan thinks that means I'm more focused on appearances. I don't know every single detail, but Dan was officially kicked out of our house. I caught parts of the conversation on our doorbell camera, specifically the moment I heard the phrase, low-value female. Dan basically went off, saying that James is a loser who's never been attractive, never put effort into his body, and therefore doesn't deserve me. He absolutely lost it when he found out that I also don't put effort into my body. At some point, my sister took my phone away so I wouldn't stress myself out watching everything unfold on the camera. She sat me down, handed me chocolate and gin, and we watched Hot Fuzz instead. James told his parents everything. I wasn't part of that conversation, but I've since received texts from both of them. Mil is mortified. She's always been Dan's biggest supporter and at first thought this had to be some kind of misunderstanding. But once she saw the video of his literal confession, she felt awful. I honestly feel bad for her. Dan was her golden boy, the athlete who made her hometown proud. She offered to cover the cost of my ruined dress and help my sister make a new one. She actually made her own wedding dress, and it was stunning, so now I'm genuinely excited about it. I can't accept her offer to pay, though. As much as the cost stings, this wasn't her fault. FIL, who hates technology, actually texted me. That alone was shocking, because he never texts, he either calls or just shows up in person. I think James must have told him I wasn't ready to talk. His message said that after everything that happened, he considers me more of a child than Dan. He's disgusted that his own son would do something like this, it's not how he was raised. He also asked me to block Dan's number for him next time I'm over, since he's terrible with tech. I won't lie, I teared up reading that. For Christmas, I'll be with my family, but I'll visit James and his parents on the 27th and stay with them until New Year's. As for Dan? He's been completely cut off. His parents and brother have uninvited him from Christmas and New Year's. They told him that unless he genuinely apologizes and gets therapy, they won't be speaking to him. They even offered to pay for his therapy, but I have no idea if he's accepted or if anything has come of it. My in-laws also offered to pay for wedding security, but we've changed both the location and date now. We've told most people why. Some didn't believe us, which, honestly, I get, some of you didn't either, but for those we didn't give details to, we just said that something serious happened and we're prioritizing safety. The event itself will be much smaller. Also, in case you missed my last update, Dan did pee on my flowers the other night. He hasn't come back since his conversation with James, but if he does show up and cause a scene, the police will be called. I've saved everything, doorbell footage, screenshots of texts, photos of the dress. Everything is timestamped and documented. If he tries anything, it's not my problem anymore, it's the police's. On a happier note, I'm going to dig up the ruined flowers and replace them. Probably with catnip, because Hermes deserves something nice. He's always been super chill around bees, so I'll plant some lavender too. Because, you know, save the bees. I'm planning to reach out to the women he's currently in contact with. I'm not sure exactly what I'll say yet, but I just can't sit with the knowledge that someone else might get hurt by him. If anyone has advice on how to approach this, I'd really appreciate it. For now, I'm going to cuddle up with James and Hermes, and eat way too much chocolate, because, hey, I don't have a wedding dress to fit into anymore. LMAO. Wishing you all a wonderful Christmas. Lots of love, Callie, James and Hermes, who is still absolutely covered in glitter. P.S. Yes, I did read the P saga.